Welcome. Good afternoon to the program. This is the mailbox. Today is November 27, 2024. Our topic for you today is young men and marriage. That means that doesn't include Kevin nor myself. We're not so young. But today we want to remind you that we are very thankful that you could join us on the program today. You could be elsewhere, but indeed, we are very grateful that you're here with us. The mailbox is brought to you today by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Fosrich Company Limited. Let's hear from Fosrich Company and their ad.
The word, preach it up like a calm, and it coming born, which part are you man or God?
When God man them there.
It's almost Christmas, and Fosrich is inviting you to Christmas in November Super Sale. November 21 to December 1. Enjoy massive discounts on lighting, chandeliers, wall lamps, electrical plugs, wires, conduits, and so much more in Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Christmas come early, and we'll be unwrapping massive discounts of up to 60% off. It's Christmas in November Super Sale. November 21 to December 1. Only at Fosrich.
Thank you very much, Fosrich. Thank you for being our sponsor here on the mailbox. Indeed, we're truly grateful for what you're doing. Well, Christmas coming earlier every year. So, you know what? Christmas might just start from January 1 year and just go through for the 12 months. What a thing that would be. We want to talk about the program today, Young Men and Marriage. Welcome to the mailbox. Some singles in churches, offices, and social groups may have stopped looking for romantic relationships because they think they've already been ruled out from getting married. There are a number of factors that affect young men and marriage, including one, marriage benefits. Young men may not be taught about the benefits of marriage, such as how to build a strong family and what women want in a husband. Fulfillment, number two, that is, a 2023 Pew Research Center survey found that young adults are less likely to say that marriage is important for a fulfilling life compared to having a job or a close friend. That's how like some people married to them friend or them job. Number three, boy crisis. The Heritage Foundation, based in Washington, D.C., says that the boy crisis impacts men academically, economically, physically, and spiritually. They also say that addressing the boy crisis through marriage could help end the dad deprivation that is a driver of the crisis. Number four, dating expectations. Some say that young people often expect romantic interactions to include some form of sexual exchange. Yes. And on to number five, marriage age. There are discussions happening in this era that the ideal age to get married is between 28 and 32, as this age has the least likelihood of divorce in the last 5 years. Yes, man. So this is the program designed for men with guests who are men, hosted by two men for the last 12 years, Kevin and Courtney, every Wednesday. Unless it's a public holiday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station. It's the mailbox. And by the way, did I say I'm Pastor Courtney Morrison? Go ahead, Kevin. It's your turn.
Really, Courtney, great. Welcome, man. To all our listeners, thanks for making Love 101 your station of choice. We're talking about the topic young men and marriage. The expectations about romantic relationships forming out of friendships may be a challenge in this era. Single people turn more to dating apps and various tools to meet other persons interested in a relationship that may instantaneously evaluate romantic prospects. Have single men in churches, offices, and social groups stop looking for romantic relationships that lead to marriage? Well, that's a question we're going to be asking Brian and Darren. Courtney, very important questions. Supposed to be
Big questions. Big question is the days of chivalry, romance, dead? Are the question. I'm going to introduce Brian and I'm going to ask Kev to introduce Darren. Brian Beadle is a 32-year-old Christian man who is a youth ministry leader. Oh, I'm telling you, say youth stop at 30. Anyway, he ministry leader, photographer, videographer, and content creator. Husband to a queen by the name of Charmaine Marie Beadle for the last 5 years, and have been partners in love, entrepreneurship, and ministry. Brian is a man who loves Jesus and does his best to please him and serve others. Welcome, Brian. Good to have you with us, sir.
Welcome, Brian. Then a little bit about Darren Salmon. Darren Salmon is 33 years old. He's Christian, husband, poet, and columnist. He's a financial advisor by profession, working and excelling in the financial services industry for the past 3 years. Darren is a relationship enthusiast who has been writing relationship management articles since his college days. He previously wrote for Christian Today, an online Christian magazine based in Australia. Now he writes for Jamaican-owned PAJE magazine. Darren also hosts a podcast on YouTube where he blends his understanding of scripture and psychology called The Worst Relationship Advice Ever. His aim is to enlighten his audience as to the possible reasons their relationships are not working out from a biblical perspective. Welcome, Darren. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Sure. So we have Brian and we have Darren in the
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am not sure.
Yes, we're hearing you now.
I'm not sure if everybody's. I'm not hearing everyone. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
All
Probably
right,
need
hold
to
on.
start that out, Darren. So
I am hearing everybody.
So am I hearing everyone. Sir Brian, I'm hearing you, Sir Darren, and definitely Kevin. Did you hear us all that time, Brian? There seems to either
I'm
be a
only
delay.
hearing.
Your mic is muted. Well, the technical difficulties that I'm sure we'll be having that will be sorted out shortly.
that's right. So in the meantime, the man among them from Moran Point to Negril, remember, we want to hear from you. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. Remember, you can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. Also, we're on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica.
That's right. And so to the ladies who say, "What on, sir?" Ladies, you know we can't do without you. Listen to the question. Have single men in churches, offices, and social groups stop looking for romantic relationships that lead to marriage? You can participate in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp, Facebook, or YouTube. Females, remember, no calls or voice notes are allowed. You may text us at 876-997-3125. That's our WhatsApp line. So we're going to do a shout out there. Normally at this time, what we do is we count to 3 and then we shout, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So we want you to join with us. So sorry that Brian is not online with us right now, but that's what we do for the past 12 years. We shout Monday. So after 3, 1, 2, 3, Monday.
Yeah, man in the place. So before we head into the main discussion, it's now time for us to get into the segment that we dub Draft, where we preliminarily open the way to our main segment. We want to ask both Darren and when Brian comes back, but no, Darren will have to take the question. Darren, have single men in the churches, offices, and social groups stop looking for romantic relationships that lead to marriage? Yeah or nay? And then tell us why or why not.
Now, I don't believe they have stopped looking. Probably just not as aggressive as our unsaved counterparts.
And the reason, what do you think accounts for that?
Well, for one, many of us are afraid of rejection. So, rejection is a thing that we all have to contend with as the ones who are supposed to pursue women. And so oftentimes we're looking for a particular signal from a woman to give us that motivation to then, put on the pursuit. And if we do not get that signal, then we'll kind of just keep ourselves to ourselves because we don't necessarily want to deal with the rejection that might come if we try to come on to a woman and she doesn't feel the same way about us that we may feel about her.
Wow.
Okay. Sir Brian, same question to you. Thank you, Sir Darren. Someone, have single men in churches, offices, and social groups stopped looking for a romantic relationship that leads to marriage? Yes or no? And tell us why or why not.
No, I don't believe they have stopped. I think social media would want to make it seem as if they've stopped, and they're focusing on other things. And maybe they are focusing on other things now because the reality of what's being brought to them is that we kind of have to have it all together, even though that may not be 100% true. But it's almost as if you have to have it together before you enter this thing. Or one of the myths is that you have to go through some rounds of romantic relationships before you get to the right one. But I believe men are still looking. I believe young men are still looking. I have a bunch of young men that I do talk to and who I know are looking and who want a family and want to make sure that they're taking care of their family and stuff like that. And they are looking for that woman who will come alongside them. But they are bombarded by their own past, things they've done, by what they see, who they see, and unfortunately some not so great examples of who they see in order to get to the point of happy, great marriage, great family life, everything like that, But I believe they're still looking. They just need to be pointed in the right direction. They need guidance. Yeah.
Oh, they need guidance. And of course, we want you both of you to kind of share what kind of guidance is needed, because the women are saying that guys shouldn't have no problem at all because there are so many of us here in the church. You can choose, pick, etc. And but at the same time they are saying, but the guy is not approaching me. I don't see any guys coming to me. I hear Darren say, boy, the fear of rejection. And how do we get rid of that or minimize that rejection? Where should the guidance come from? I guess that's the question, Darren, then Brian. Where should the guidance
let us take the answer to those questions after this break, though. We're up on our first break. Want you to remember that, guys. How do we avoid that rejection? How do we solve it? What's happening? You're listening to the program The Mailbox, or you may be viewing us on Facebook or even YouTube. We come right back after these messages.
Man, integrity, man.
You have a good evening too. Nice confident day. I can't wait to get home.
Sometimes, all you want to do is get home. To the place where you feel safe, where it's all your own and you can spend time with family. Let me one last game of Ludo, please.
All right.
NHG, the key to your home, has home builder and home buyer loans to help you get home. And if you're planning to fix up the home you have, our home improvement loans will help bring those ideas to life. With the NHG, there are more possibilities for you to get home.
More possibilities. Get home. NHG, turn a dream home into reality.
What gift gives you joy?
Renovating my home.
Finance your personal loan with CIBC Caribbean and use your funds to enjoy a dream holiday, home renovations, or more. Plus, we'll gift you 50% off the application fee and the chance to win one of 3 cash prizes from our pot of up to $2.4 million. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/joy of giving. CIBC Caribbean, terms and conditions apply.
Popcorn? Check. Christmas movie list? Check. Space to hang your free Samsung Smart TV? Check. It's Flo's massive Black Friday Yard and Road sale. Everyone who signs up for Flo Yard and Road online for only $5,300 plus GCT gets a free Samsung Smart TV plus a chance to win $1 million cash. This offer is only valid for Flo Yard and Road online signups between November 25 and November 30. Visit discoverflow.co to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Every day I get bigger. Every day I get better. I'm a star in that shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. Every step that I take, oh yeah. Feeling great cause I'm learning, yeah. I'm a star in that shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. La 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 la. Watch me grow with Alacta Plus.
Help support their mental development at this important stage with a unique combination of nutrients from Alacta Plus. This product is not intended to be a substitute for breast milk.
It's almost Christmas, and Fosbridge is inviting you to Christmas in November Super Sale. November 21 to December 1. Enjoy massive discounts on lighting, chandeliers, wall lamps, electrical plugs, wires, conduits, and so much more in Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Christmas come early, and we'll be unwrapping massive discounts of up to 60% off. It's Christmas in November Super Sale. November 21 to December 1. Only at Fosbridge.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Ready up for H&L Rapid True Value biggest Black Friday ever. Score jaw-dropping deals on November 29th through to December 1st. Transform your home with massive savings. Up to 60% off premium tiles, 10% off cement, stunning curtains for just $5.99. Plus Friday only specials. Save 20 to 75% on all housewares and 20% off every power tool in stock. Conditions apply. While stocks last, start right. Start here. H&L Rapid True Value.
Yes. Strong one. Integrity man.
Welcome back to the program, The Mailbox. I'm Courtney Morrison, along with Kevin Bailey as co-host. Our two guests, Brian Beadle and Darren Salmon. We're talking about young men and marriage. And just before we went for the break, Kevin asked them an important question. Kevin, care to remind us what the question was so that these young men can answer? I'd love to hear the answer.
Right, just piggybacking on the conversation, Brian mentioned that the young men need guidance, you know, for them to feel more confident, for them to move towards dating, courtship, etc. And I remember Darren spoke about fear of rejection. So asking now, you know, starting with Darren, where's the guidance supposed to come from? Because we need to be able to solve this. We need our men to be in a better place as they move towards marriage.
Right. I personally believe that the guidance definitely has to come from older men to the younger women, to the younger men, and from older women to the younger women. As men who are supposed to be the ones taking charge and taking the lead when it comes on to the pursuit of women, you definitely have to overcome the fear of rejection, understanding that we can only marry one person. You know, it's not like back in the Bible times. In today, 2024, we can only marry one person. And so if you shoot your shot with a particular female that you like, and she does not reciprocate that energy, then you just have to accept that she's just not that into you, and that's okay. It's not an indictment on the young man. It's not because I'm ugly or I'm not ambitious enough, I don't have enough money. There could be various reasons that are outside of him. And so it's all about the man not taking it personal if his advance to the woman is not accepted or if his romantic energy is not being reciprocated. He just needs to, keep it moving.
When did you get married, Darren?
Well, I got married in August of this year.
Whoa, congratulations.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Brian.
You mean August, September, October, November, 3 months married?
Yeah.
3 months.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Yeah, man.
I was there as a witness.
Oh, you were there as a witness, Brian?
Yeah. That's my brother right there.
So the two of you are partners in love, or in Christ, or in Christ. But Brian, if you're able to answer the question as well, this fear of rejection, where should the guidance come from?
Yeah, I definitely believe it. The guidance should come from older men. If you see someone, I believe young men should look for a male, someone, hopefully a good male who has something that they want, and say, hey, how did you get there? How did you come by? Your wife is beautiful. How did you come by speaking to her, talking to her? Do you ever feel as if you couldn't match up? And as Darren says, sometimes it's a trial and error, trial and fail. Sometimes it's not so much confidence, but it's courage. Because confidence means you have evidence as to, I know what I say and I believe in what I'm saying and what I'm doing. But sometimes you don't have that confidence. You just have to try courage and just do it and go and talk. And as Darren says, sometimes it won't work out your way, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean, and I think that's it. Sometimes, I remember when I was younger, and and I used to, when I would like a female, but I was very shy. And I'd like a female. It took me a while to really talk to her or say anything to her. And I remember, I used to get shame a lot. Because I went up to her and, I wanted to say hi or what have you, and I didn't get the response I wanted to get. But at the same time, I did feel away. And sometimes you just have to agree, I go feel away. But it doesn't mean that it ends there. You just realize that maybe you're just not the one for her, or maybe your approach was for something like that. But if overall she just don't like you, that's okay. There are many others out there that more than likely will find you to be the type of person,
Like your answer, Brian. And I want to also piggyback on the question, who was that older man or men for both yourself, Brian and Darren, that encouraged you, that you looked at to get you to this place of marriage? Some of us just doing it 3 months ago, but we're talking about guidance from older men. Who was that influence in your life? Darren, you first.
Well, to be honest with you, I have come up through life just, by trial and error. Kind of just, learning on my own. Learning from my own experiences and also from the books that I've read.
Thank you, Darren. Brian, your turn.
I'd say some of the same for me as well. Trial and error. And there were a few, men in my life. I mean, I look at my father, who, he just had this confidence around my mother. And also when I saw him around other women, he had a certain type of confidence when he spoke to them and stuff. Not in a way of trying to get them, but you can see that he knew himself enough to, like, when him talk, and they'd always want to be around him. They'd always feel assured around him. And I saw that the same with my mother. And I saw that the same with a few other guys, even like my older brother, how he would speak to females and stuff. But many of that, even just seeing it was just observation. Then the next thing was just like, all right, let's try this, let's try that, and see if it works out. You know, some worked, some didn't at all. You know, real shame. Like, oh my gosh, I need to. You know, you finally talk to her at halfway tree. She shame you right at Mullines Road, and you have all the way at Spanish Town to go. What you gonna know? So yeah, man, real trial and error.
So I am hearing, almost different methodologies, in the sense that Darren coming through the ropes, and you coming to the ropes, but might look at that, with a lot of trial and error, and having to go to the rejection. Having learned these things, gentlemen, what would you suggest, like in churches now? How do we stem that gap? What are some of your suggestions to say, yeah, look at the young men, them knowing that they might lack the courage, or they might feel insecure, they fear the rejection. What are some of the things you would say we could do in the church to help that situation? Darren, let's start with you.
Well, generally, women will communicate non-verbally if they find a guy attractive. And so it's really just for a guy to pay attention to the signs, the signals that a woman might drop, the hints that a woman might drop that she is interested in him. Then he just needs to be interested back. Now, another situation that we have on our hands is that women outnumber men within the church. And so sometimes men will get themselves in trouble in that they are showing interest in multiple females at the same time. And so that is something that we definitely have to try and curtail, because we don't necessarily want that type of, so what are they looking for? Reputation.
Solomonic character.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good one.
To become a part of, the church. Essentially, each man has to know themselves and know what they want for their lives and what they want out of a wife, and then lock in on just one person. And until that person rejects you, you stay locked in on that person. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right.
Just for Brian to further help with that question there, because some men say so many attractive women in the church, not sure who I like yet. I might say 3 or 4 that I'm attracted to, and I would like to get to know the 3 or 4. So I am just trying to know the 3 or 4 so that I can choose one. Now, how do they proceed without them being known as gallus and having bad reputation? Yeah, talk to us, Brian.
Yeah, because we have some good church guys out there, and we sanctify by saying, no man, I'm a man of the Lord, But we know what we're doing. Let's don't do that. You know what you're doing, sir. Be careful. I say honestly, I one, in regards to that what you just said, you just asked, I definitely think this is why friendship is the way to go. Get involved, participate in different activities that they might be in. If you're interested, you see, you're attracted to, and you're not just physically, but also you're just seeing certain things about a few ladies in the church or so, and you see that, boy, I really like 1, 2, 3. Get involved in different things that they might be a part of. Go on trips, go on different outings and group gatherings. Because here, the thing about it is, you will definitely, before you even step into getting more personal things out of them, you can see a lot of who they are come out in certain groups and certain things like that. And even in those different situations, you never know. You may get the chance to say, okay, let me talk to this person. You get the chance to talk to them one away or in a certain instance. But I definitely believe, the more you get involved and try to just be around, be friendly as best as possible, and just have, just general conversation before you get into anything deep. It allows you to kind of just cut the stem, but cut it down, narrow it down.
Let me stem you there and cut it. We're on a break. We're up on our second break. It is 1 minute past 6 in the evening. You're listening to Love 101. The program is The Mailbox. We're talking about young men and marriage. I'm Courtney Morrison along with Kevin Bailey. Our guests are Brian Beadle and Darren Salmon. We'll come right back after these messages.
Integrity, man. What Friday with the madness? What Friday with the madness? What Friday with the madness?
Get ready to make up for our biggest sale of the year. This one is massive. It's the Black Friday this weekend at Woman Things. Every single item in store, 30 to 70% off this Friday only. And check the Saturday specials too. Friday Madness sale is on at Woman Things, 4 Road Road and Content Spring Road. It's a Madness weekend.
We've been here for 25 years and we are
Guardian Life.
just getting started. Leading the way every day, protecting you and yours at every stage.
Guardian Life.
Looking at the light, caring for family, caring for you. Looking at the life and no way
For
to.
every generation, for every stage, your partner for 25 years. Guardian Life.
Looking at the light.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today, 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself,
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Yes. Someone. Integrity, man.
Welcome back. This is the Mailbox here every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. right here on your favorite station, Love 101 FM. So Kevin Bailey, Courtney Morrison, along with our very special guest, Brian Beadle and Darren Salmon. Gentlemen, before we took a break, I think want to allow you to finish, Brian. We have to go to the studio.
I think the next thing I was going to go to was that you're asking how in the church we can assist young men into getting into that place. I think one of the things I have learned with young men, when it comes down to relationships, I don't know why, and maybe it happened in my time as well, but we shy to talk about relationships. Like, I'll outrightly look and realize, like, one of my young guys talking to a young girl, and I'll watch for maybe a week or two, and then at times I would have directly went and say, all right, so you're not going to talk. And I'm like, no. And it was like, what you shy about? Don't know wrong with what you do. We just want to know if, you're having a conversation. No, he's just a friend. He's just a friend. All right, fine. So I realized it's not something that they will comfortably talk to you about unless they find you are somebody to talk to. So when you get into group settings with young men, I think that's one of the biggest things that we definitely need to get into group settings with young men, have conversations with them, bring them outside of the church, just having conversations, talk about possibly yourself, like what you went through and stuff like that, making it easier for them to ask questions and ask about different things. I remember it. I knew this young guy for a long time, maybe like he became a Christian, and I knew him for maybe like 4 to 5 years before he started to ask me about questions about getting married and what that meant and sex in marriage and what can you do and what cannot happen. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And you realize it's out of him being comfortable to know, say, all right, I can talk to you about this, or can talk to you about this girl or that girl or what I'm going through, made him able to, really talk up, come out about it, and allowed me, to say, like, all right, guide him in certain directions, or, say, let's pray about whatever the situation is. But yeah, I feel like getting into groups with young men, having conversations outside of the church, was just seeing life on a different whole, allows them to be able to comfortably talk about stuff and help you to guide them in a better way.
Thank you, Brian. And those suggestions are really practical. When young men go together and get a sense of, freedom to speak freely, it does help, and to share and to ensure that they're understanding what's happening. And in that situation, you'd have been one of the older men giving guidance.
Yeah. Oh boy, don't remind me.
So Darren, we want to ask the question, is marriage counseling important? When it comes on to our young men wanting to get married, they have seen that some men still have this happily ever after outlook. Mm-hmm. Is it always happily ever after? And how important is marriage counseling?
I believe it can be happily ever after, but that is more so dependent on what the couple does more than how they feel. And yes, marriage counseling is very important because typically when you are in that, boyfriend, girlfriend stage leading on to engagement, the relationship is possibly in its honeymoon phase, possibly feeling very nice. They're probably very happy with each other now. And they just have this feeling that once they get married, everything is going to go great. It's going to be just as how it was before. However, let's say Simeon, come live with me is two different things. Mm-hmm. And typically within the body of Christ, we do not encourage for our young people to live together before getting married. And so if a couple who is currently courting is not living together, and then they get married and now they're living together, they may be in for a very rude awakening when that time comes along. And so premarital counseling is intended to prepare young couples for what they will possibly face when they get into marriage. Also, for the two people to get really in touch with themselves, the depth of themselves, and what are the traumas, what are the things that they are bringing into the marriage that could possibly pose a threat to the marriage. And premarital counseling is also where the couple can now make an informed decision on whether or not it is healthy for them to move forward into marriage, or should they take a step back and reevaluate their relationship before making that move into marriage. So it can definitely save a lot of heartache and pain if couples choose to do premarital counseling before taking the leap.
Thank you, Darren.
I'm so bright, Kevin. I'm so bright.
Underscore underscoring what you said, Darren.
Mature.
The research says that the number one predictor of how marriages will go is proper preparation from premarital counseling. People being prepared for marriage. Brian, question to you.
Kevin, before you take Brian question, we see where studio is saying we have a voice note that they want us to take. Let's take that voice note now.
Good afternoon, my mailbox, men and brethren.
Aye.
Yes, my suggestion, I don't think so. In this time and age, a man really should look on the attraction of a woman, the dignified walking stick that she has. You know, because that can deceive you a lot. But even in the church today, if you like that, the dignified walking stick, but if you search good, you'll find it full quality. Some is just the money they want. Don't show your dignified walking stick because they have it. So if you're stupid, you get led away. But my advice to my men them today, let the spirit lead you, man. And watch them, spiritually and temporary, before you choose a partner. At the bling they want them ideas, you know.
Brother Arnold, man. Brother
Thank
Arnold,
you, Brother Arnold, for that. Well, gentlemen, before I ask my question, your take on what Brother Arnold said. CC mentioned, don't spend too much time with the physical. You have to hear from the Spirit, let the Holy Spirit guide you, and that kind of a thing. I kind of remember, men look at the outward appearance, as God see the heart. So talk to us there. If we know see the heart right now and is the physical appearance, where do we move? And is there a place for being attracted to the woman, or are you just in the spirit and that will be sufficient?
It was interesting. I was recently listening to, I think it's a sermon, another minister, and speaking about how much that scripture that you just said, we interpret it so wrong a lot of times, that men look at the outward of the heart, the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And it was not, and it shows how much, God was not saying not to look at the outward appearance. God was just saying, men look at the outward appearance. Like, take note that men look at the outward appearance. But my most important part is the heart. So it's not to discredit the outward appearance. There is an outward appearance. There is a natural, because He put it in us, there's a natural attraction for someone. There is something that will draw you, especially what as men. There's something that draws you to this person. However, this woman, there is much more that is going to be needed, because especially for a marriage, there's much more than the looks. There is much more. So the looks are important, but there's going to be much more. There's going to be much more needed. Can she pray for you? Is she kind? Is she generous? Is she somebody who will hold you down in those rough times? Is she someone that you can definitely see your life, you building your life on? Because, the interesting thing is that looks can easily go. Tomorrow a situation can happen and she's not as beautiful. And for you as a man, something can happen, you're not as great. What is going to be relied on then? So it's not to say don't look at the outward, but don't place that entire focus on it, See it, like it, move into the spirit with it, pray about it.
And we know what they say about black men, what they love to look at, right? I see Aaron saying that the voice note is saying, don't focus on the looks, but let the spirit lead. We're on our final break. This is the mailbox at 6:15 in the evening here, this Wednesday evening. And we're talking about young men and marriage. Do they still seek romantic relationships which lead into marriage? Kevin Bailey, co-host, Brian and Darren are our guests. We'll soon come back.
What is saving? Saving is a very important skill.
represents a net surplus of funds for an individual or a household after all expenses, including utilities, living expenses, and other obligations are paid. It is best to create a saving habit and culture from early days. This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
This holiday season, JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited wants you to spruce up your celebrations with our Christmas combo loan. Get up to $200,000 at fixed interest rate, no credit check, and up to 24 months to repay. It's never been a better time to join. Membership is easy and you may be eligible. Conditions apply. Call us or visit www.jpscu.com to learn more and get started today. JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited, your financial partner for life.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man.
Well,
I wanted to respond to that voice note as well.
Okay, sure. Just want to say welcome back to the mailbox. Man oh man, and we are in the place. Courtney Morrison, Kevin Bailey, Brian, and Darren is our very special guest. Darren, yes, your response.
Right. I just wanted to say I agree with the sentiment of the voice note, because in my observation, I have noticed that the same thing that money does to us men in terms of our hearts is the same thing that beauty tends to do to women as well. And so you tend to find that the women who are extremely beautiful and they know it and they get a lot of attention and compliments from men, sometimes it goes to their heads and they can be very prideful as a result of it. And pride and marriage does not go very well together. And so just as us men have to be very careful about how we allow our success to go to our heads, women also have to do the same, to not let their beauty go to their heads. And so for us, we look at the outward appearance. We're going to be drawn. Initially, we as men are going to be drawn to what we see. That's what's going to pique our interest at first. But then inevitably, it's going to be the character of the woman that will say, okay, this is a person I want to marry, yes or no.
Thank you, Darren. Just want to remind our ladies that, remember, you can participate, by sending us a text, and we want you to ask your question as well. You might be interested. Gentlemen, the divorce rate in the church is pretty high, and almost the same as those who are not in church. From your perspective, why do you think this is so when we are in the Spirit, when we have the Holy Spirit guiding us, when we have the scriptures guiding us, but the evidence is still that the divorce rate is high? What do you think accounts for that? And how can we reduce that? How can we cut that down so that we are setting the example? Is it something that is possible? What's happening there? Brian, I'll start with you.
Why? It is very, very discouraging when you definitely see the divorce rate, especially in in Christendom, in the church, where marriage supposed to be, of a greater, even greater standard. But I think one of the things that we're definitely seeing is what people know things in theory, but don't. But then when the practical comes, it's more than what they thought. I mean, think about it. We have to go through a whole test just to get your driver's license. Think what you have to do just to get your driver's license. Whole test, you have to pay for it. You have to, right now, when you get your provisional driver's license, you have to wait 6 months before you go for the driver's license. Now, if we have to do a whole thing just so that we can be a competent person on the road, imagine marriage. Imagine, just think about the fact that, yeah, we definitely need to go through some time of understanding, learning, and training, and knowing what this thing is before we step into it. Because when we do step into it, and as Darren said, a lot of stuff hit us, and hit us hard too. A lot of realities come to the fore. We have to be able, especially as men, to stand and be able to say, all right, we have to go hold the ground here. And if you can do it, you have to at least have somebody who can say, no man, nobody push out. You're good. This is what this is supposed to be like. It's supposed to feel like this, but you don't need to give up. And so I definitely believe it's the theory.
Sorry, Brian, you're muted.
Are you hearing me now?
You need marriage mentorship. I've seen where there's now a group, Errington Case, doing marriage mentorship and mentoring young men, and it's really essential.
Yeah.
There's a time that I used to preach and say, if you really want to know that you're saved, get married. If you want to check your salvation measure, get married. That is the toughest road to navigate. Mm-hmm. We heard the secular world singing a song, I wish that a marriage license was just like a driver's license that you renew every 5 years. Well, we can do renewal of vows, but not the marriage license. Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, we're coming closer to the end of the show, of this program, sorry. And we'd like to know, what advice would you give to those who are experiencing what would seem to be, well, you started answering it, Brian, an overwhelming time in marriage. You spoke of the divorce rate in the church being similar to that of the secular world, indeed proving that persons in church are also human beings. But we want to know how and what are some practical steps that one can take if experiencing less than what is known as marital bliss, what might be considered marital blisters. Darren, well, go ahead. Any person start.
All right. Well, Brian and I talk about this at length a lot of times in preparation for.
So 1 second. Was Brian your older man guide into getting married?
Well,
just asking. Just asking. Seeing that you're 3 months in.
And actually, you could say I'm part of the statistic, because I was previously married, I got divorced, and now I'm on my second marriage.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my word of advice to people would a couple things. One, before getting married, you have to ask yourself, this person in front of me who I'm thinking about getting married to, can I love them as they are today? Is there anything about them that I want to change, that I want to transform, that I want to work? If there's anything about the person that you feel you need to change in order and also to be happy with them, then do not marry that person. So you're going to frustrate yourself, you're going to frustrate the person. Next would be to get a true understanding of what love is. I think that is a main problem that a lot of us face. We're trying to mix our romantic understanding or social understanding with the biblical understanding of what love is. And really and truly, there is just one love. It's what we see in the Bible. It's Jesus' example to us, and it's what we read in 1 Corinthians 13. That's the blueprint. And so if we all allow that to be the main thing guiding how we behave toward our partner, then that will cut out a lot of the confusion where love is concerned. I believe if two people are living in true love toward one another, then there is really no reason for the relationship to degrade. Third thing would be to get a good understanding of what forgiveness is. A lot of people they don't really understand what forgiveness is. A lot of people will say to themselves, forgiveness is when you no longer feel the offense or some time has passed, and so sweep the offense under the rug. It's no longer bothering you, so now you're forgiving the person. No, it's actually an intentional decision to no longer hold the offense against the person. And that decision can be made once, and it can be made over and over and over again, that you do not treat the person with contempt just because they offended you. If you hold a grudge in marriage, it's only a matter of time before the marriage falls into disrepair and possibly leads to divorce. So yeah, that would be my bit of advice to people who are desiring marriage and people who are currently married.
Brian, as we come near the wrap up, you're a few seconds, and so it look like, gentlemen, we might need a part 2 on this one because there are so many things to look at,
Yeah, I thought it would have been a longer show.
Oh boy.
It's actually an hour. I do
I
not believe an hour
because
is elapsed and will elapse in a minute and a half.
Yeah, I will just say quick because I think Aaron and I definitely, have so many conversations about this, and we're very passionate about it. My one thing will just add to Darren's 3 is, especially for men, know yourself and know your purpose. Know yourself, know your purpose. Because more often than not, sometimes men think, okay, I need to get a good job, get married and stuff, and they fall into what they believe they should be versus what God wants them to be. And so sometimes they are rushed into getting married and rushed into doing things, and maybe really and truly they didn't want that at that time. Maybe they wanted to explore the world, they wanted to travel, they wanted to do missions and stuff like that. And if you know yourself enough and know your God, and you are following his leading, then whatever time it is that is to be chosen for you to get married, then it will happen. But don't do it just because your mother says she need her grandchild right now. Your father say, how long you're going to be a gelding youth? Yet don't do it because everybody believes this is the moment, this is the time. Know yourself. And from you know yourself and know what you want, then hyper-focus, as Darren says, get locked in onto where you want, because that's what helps to cut out a lot of the, I'm going to this girl, that girl.
We're going to have to cut you there. I think we have to end with that. Know yourself, know your God, know your purpose. Know yourself, know your God, know your purpose. We say thanks to Dr. Nadine Blair, Operations Program Manager, to Derval Graham and Dr. Nadine Blair for studio and technical support. Beverly Cole says, good evening, everyone. Most times they put the church before their family. And so we say thanks to Jeremy and Jon Snow, producer, and thanks to our guests, Brian Beadle and Darren Salmon. Indeed, we end the show with the scope. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Hebrews 13, verse 4.
This was the program designed for men, but guess what, men? Catch you next week. Hopefully we'll have these two gentlemen again, where we'll look at the same thing. So the mailbox was brought to you today by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphorus Company Limited. So we say Monday.
Same place, same time, next week. Bless you.
Your mama, yes. Integrity, man.
Almost Christmas, and Phosphorus is inviting you to Christmas in November super sale, November 21 to December 1. Enjoy massive discounts on lighting, chandeliers, wall lamps, electrical